on the governor.
Mr. Speaker, Mr. President, your committees assigned to escort the Excellency, his governor, and the First Lady to the House chamber has arrived and are ready to proceed with the order of the great state of West Virginia.
Thank you, committee. Committee be discharged.
Mr. Speaker, Mr. President.
The Speaker recognizes the Sergeant at Arms.
Mr. Speaker, Mr. President, this is a rarity even for someone who has been with the Legislative Association for 52 years. It's my very great pleasure to present our distinguished guest, whom I've known since he was 10 years old, when his feelings and interest was wavering between politics and football. Fortunately for West Virginia, politics won. Therefore, it's my pleasure to present His Excellency, the Governor of West Virginia, the very Honorable Joe Manchin III, and his lovely First Lady, Gail Conley Manchin.
Okay, buddy? Good. Hey, babe, how are you? Hey, Larry. Don, thank you, brother. Appreciate you. Richard, thank you. See ya. Hey, buddy. You okay? Thank you, Billy. Thank you. Hey, Sammy.
Kill him tonight.
We're ready. We're ready,
buddy.
We're ready.
We're with you.
Thank you. Hey, Marguerite, how are you, honey?
I'm fine. How are you?
Good to see you. Good to see you, buddy.
You're the biggest fans right here. Good to see you.
Good to see you all. Thank you. Hey, babe, how are you?
Fine. How are you?
You okay, Bob? Hey, baby, how are you doing, huh? Give me a hug. Okay.
What did I?
Don't get him, girl. We're ready, buddy. We're ready. Got that pedometer on. I'm ready. Hey, Andy. How you doing?
Good job. Hey, Governor.
How are you doing?
Hey, babe. How are you?
No sleep.
What do you think, brother?
Joe, how's it going?
Good, buddy. You okay?
Tonight, babe.
Thanks.
Governor, good to see you.
Hey. What you doing, Johnny? You okay? What you doing, brother? You okay?
Good.
Thank you. Thank you.
Joe, you're looking good.
I'm feeling good.
Just congrats on last. You don't get beat up too
I'm
early.
not. I'm not.
Looking good. Keep at it.
Thanks for everything.
Well, we got a little something going on. We'll know about it in March. I'll talk to you.
Hey, Toddy, how you? Hey, Betty. Good to see you. Hey, Big John, you okay?
Yeah. Governor, how you doing?
Thank you, buddy. You ready? We're ready. You okay?
Doing good. Greet us back too. This is great.
Thanks. Hey, babe, how you doing? Good to see you.
How are you?
Good to see you all. Hey, buddy.
Seat for you.
Which way? Hey, buddy. What do you think, buddy? I'm ready.
Okay, good.
Didn't shake your hand, did I? Thank you.
Citizens of the state of West Virginia, it's a privilege and honor for Senate President Tomlin and I to present to you the governor of the great state of West Virginia, the Honorable Joe Manchin.
Mr. President, Mr. Speaker, members of the Board of Public Works, justices of the Supreme Court of Appeals, members of the legislature, distinguished guests, and my fellow West Virginians. While I'm honored and humbled to have the opportunity tonight to share with you my hopes and dreams for our great state, this is not the first time that I have been granted the privilege of standing in this hallowed chamber as your governor. As you are aware, a little over 2 weeks ago, I met here with the members of the House and the Senate at the beginning of what quickly became one of the most historic special legislative sessions ever to take place in West Virginia. Working together with the support of many of the state's top business and labor leaders, we took the bold steps necessary to show the nation that West Virginia is serious about getting our house in order and our people back to work. The effort made by this legislature was unprecedented in the scope. You allowed me the opportunity as governor to begin to reorganize the executive branch of government with the goal of being more accountable for our actions and more coordinated in our economic development efforts. You took responsibility for managing the state's long-term pension debts in a common-sense way that provides the ultimate protection for our retirees. To the people across West Virginia who are listening and watching tonight, a vote on the management of these debts will be held this summer. And I cannot stress to you how important it is that you and your family members support and vote in favor of establishing a fixed mortgage payment to pay off our unfunded liabilities. This will not cost you or the state one penny. On the contrary, it will save the state hundreds of millions of dollars, and it will pave the way at long last for economic stability and security for our children and our grandchildren. You had the courage to strengthen our state's ethics laws, holding yourselves to a higher level of accountability in an effort to ensure that the people of this state can have the utmost confidence in their elected officials and those who do the work of the state. Tomorrow, I will officially sign the ethics bill and at the same time propose legislation to remove the provision that unnecessarily hinders citizens from speaking out about their complaints. I am confident that no member of this legislature meant any harm with this provision, but let's fix it now, right from the start, and move on with these needed ethics reforms. And most significantly, you tackled once and for all our workers' compensation debt, putting approximately $160 million back into our economy by reducing every business person's premium starting next year by up to 15%. This will allow businesses to reinvest in new equipment and create more job opportunities. Make no mistake, the work you did just a week and a half ago has already made significant improvement in the state's business climate that will benefit all West Virginians. I said going in that it wouldn't be easy, and it wasn't. The only choices we had were hard ones. But you made them, and you made them decisively. And the working men and women of this state owe you a large debt of gratitude as a result. Thank you. But there is much more to be done. As evidence of that fact, the budget that I present to you tonight, Mr. Speaker and Mr. President, as I do this, the budget that I present to you tonight has been cut by over $75 million from the budget that was first compiled. Those were hard cuts to make, but they had to be done. And I'm proud to say that they were responsible, not in across-the-board fashion, but in targeted reductions made for specific, valid reasons. The people of West Virginia have made it clear that they will no longer tolerate a government that is out of step with the economy of this state. While I believe we were making great strides towards financial recovery in West Virginia, We are not there yet, and our government's budget should reflect that reality. As I've said before, the work completed during the special session was just the beginning. During those 6 days, we lit a spark that will positively impact the lives of our children and grandchildren. But the full fire is yet to come. It's time now for us to seize upon the moment of the special session and build upon it. I come to you tonight not only with budget cuts, but with an agenda that once completed will solidify the dawning of a new day in West Virginia. A new day not only for the families that live here, but for the companies that want to do business and create good jobs here. And we will make sure that every member of this legislature is informed from the very beginning about the ins and outs of our proposals. Just like we did in the special session, we will come to you with a PowerPoint presentation that will explain our agenda from top to bottom. Some things we'll agree on, and some things we might disagree on. But at least we'll start our discussions from the same page, and we'll never lose sight of our respect for each other. But before I go any further, I want to introduce to you some very special guests. Sitting before you is the real people of West Virginia and the real hope of West Virginia. Our High-Y Governor, James Staton of Williamson High School. Our High-Y Chief Justice, Shane Dragan of Oak Hill High School. And George Washington High School student Richard Leitz, whose championship We the People team will be representing the state of West Virginia during the program's national competition in Washington, D.C. this spring. It is for them. It is for them and for those they represent that we gather here tonight and commit ourselves to doing everything possible to ensure that they are able to live, work, and raise a family here in the Mountain State. Would they all please rise now and let us give them a warm West Virginia welcome. As I said in my inaugural address, I want my administration to be remembered for fighting hard every day to keep 5 basic promises to our children. The first promise, every child should have a caring adult in their lives. And that's not always the biological parent or family member. It may be a friend or a neighbor. Oftentimes it's a teacher. And I would like you to meet one of our state's finest teachers, an educator who truly represents the quality of our education community. He is an agriculture education teacher from St. Mary's High School in Pleasants County. At this time, I am pleased to ask Jason Hughes, West Virginia's Teacher of the Year, to stand and be recognized. Jason. Again this year, we are so pleased that the Toyota Motor Corporation is presenting a new Toyota Sienna to our state's Teacher of the Year. This automobile, with its West Virginia-produced engine and transmission, will serve Jason well in his efforts to drive and challenge the students he works with every day. And I'm also pleased to acknowledge Mountain State Blue Cross and Blue Shield that will present Jason with a $5,000 check. Thanks to both of these West Virginia companies for continuing their long-standing commitment to education. Thank you. The second promise, every child should have a safe place. And that's not always their home. It could be their church. In more cases than not, it's their school. And I want to do all that I can to protect and support every one of our state's small, rural, community-based schools. For many of our children, they are more than just places to learn. They are places to get a hot meal and some much-needed positive attention. And we must make it our mission to help them meet those needs because they are the hearts of our communities. And their survival is critical to our future. The third promise, every child should have a healthy start. Just like children must be taught to read in order to be successful, they must also be taught the skills that will help them stay healthy throughout their entire life. That is why I am proposing a three-part Healthy Start initiative that will give our children the skills they need to fight the growing epidemics of childhood obesity, type 2 diabetes, and heart disease, and to show my commitment to promoting a healthy lifestyle for our children. The governor's office has accepted a challenge by the House and the Senate to participate in the West Virginia Leaders on the Move initiative. During the legislative session, my staff and I will wear pedometers, which I have one right here, and track our steps daily. The steps will then be averaged out, and as I understand it, a trophy will be awarded to the office that has walked the most at the conclusion of the session. I want you to know we're happy to be able to participate in this worthwhile project. And for the records, ladies and gentlemen, I think we're going to win. The fourth promise: every child should have a marketable skill. There will never be another meeting under my watch without education and economic development working together. We need to do a much better job of educating our children about their career choices. As I've said many times, while every child needs some form of post-secondary education, not every child is meant to receive a 4-year college degree. In fact, the demand for skilled blue-collar workers is now steadily on the rise. Therefore, some students would excel with a 2-year community college degree or a specialized technical school training, and we should give those options equal attention when talking with today's students. In addition, we need to start thinking outside of the box when it comes to educational technology. At this time, I would like to introduce to you my wife, the amazing new First Lady of West Virginia, Gail Manchin. Gail, I knew she'd get a larger hand than I would. Gail has spent a large part of her career working in the education realm, and so I have asked her to take the lead on developing a plan to improve our state's distant learning initiatives. With the technology available today, there is no reason why a student in Welch shouldn't have the exact same access to specialized class choices as a student from Wheeling or vice versa. It is yet another way for us to protect our small, rural, community-based schools while also ensuring that our children have access to the latest and greatest curriculum. A child's geographic location, race, or parents' income level should not predetermine their life's course, and it's up to us to see that they don't. Every child. And last but certainly not least, the fifth promise. Every child should be taught to be a caring adult and be given an opportunity to serve their communities. As an example of the great work being done around the state in this regard, we have with us tonight Dr. Ruth Ellen Phillips. Dr. Phillips is an extension professor at West Virginia University and director of the Energy Express. She recently received the highly prestigious Lewis Hine Award, presented by the National Child Labor Committee. This national award recognizes 10 individuals for their unheralded volunteer or professional work that betters the lives of America's youth. Through partnership with agencies, organizations, and school systems on the local level, Ruth Ellen and Energy Express are meeting all 5 promises. And we as a state will do all we can to follow their example. Dr. Phillips, will you please stand and be recognized, please? In addition to focusing on these 5 important promises, my administration will also develop initiatives to ensure we are treating all people in West Virginia with dignity and respect, no matter their lot in life, physically, mentally, or economically. To that end, we will be continuing what was a very successful effort in the Secretary of State's office, and that is our SHARES program, Saving History and Reaching Every Student. We have only scratched the surface of the good that can be accomplished through this program. And within the next 90 days, we will be announcing a new focus for shares that will take it to the next level. So stay tuned. Water break. And at the same time, we devote resources to our youth. We must never forget the contributions of those who came before and paved the way for whatever successes we've been able to achieve, both individually and collectively. First, our senior citizens. I believe that the senior citizens of today have been overlooked as sources of strength, stability, and vitality in all of our communities. And by too often discounting the value of seniors and the wisdom they offer, programs have been developed to assist seniors that don't truly address the very real needs and desires that they have. As governor, I intend to place a greater emphasis on those programs which help our seniors live in their homes and stay active in their communities, such as the in-home nutrition programs. Too often, we pigeonhole our seniors and their needs and force them to live as we want, not as they desire. By giving our seniors the assistance they need to stay in their communities and live with dignity in their own homes, we are honoring our commitment to the greatest generation. We must also never forget or take for granted the contribution of our state's veterans. At this time, it is my privilege to introduce Staff Sergeant Derek Brown of the 167th Airlift Wing out of Martinsburg, Staff Sergeant Renata Snodgrass of the 111th Engineering Group out of St. Albans, and Chief Master Sergeant Donald Burton of the 130th Airlift Wing out of Charleston. All three have recently returned from overseas where they served in support of Operation Iraqi Freedom, and we are so very glad to have them home. Please join with me in showing our appreciation to West Virginia's finest. We have them placed at each one of the galleries. Please raise your hands. Raise your hand, honey. Raise your hand, Sergeant. Thank you. Thank you. As I am sure you are all aware, West Virginia is one of the most patriotic states in the nation. We send more of our men and women into battle in defense of our country's democracy than most any other state. In addition, approximately 77% of all the West Virginia National Guard members have been deployed since September 11, 2001. Nearly 4,800 soldiers and airmen. It is because of them and their sacrifices that we are able to meet freely here tonight, which is why we need to do a better job of taking care of the families of our military and National Guardsmen, especially when a crisis occurs. I have instructed the Division of Veterans Affairs to install a support line specifically for these families. That number is 1-800-WV-4-VETS. 1-800-WV-4-VETS. I want every military family in West Virginia that might be facing a problem due to the absence of their loved one to know that they have someone and somewhere to turn. We're all one big family here in West Virginia, and we want to do everything in our power to help you, just as your family members are doing everything in their power to help us. I am also proposing that we follow the suggestion of New Mexico Governor Bill Richardson and add a checkoff box on our state's tax returns for 2006. This would allow the state tax refund recipients to divert their refund to provide emergency assistance to West Virginia military families whose loved ones have either lost their lives or been seriously wounded in defense of our country. It is the least we can do in their honor for their sacrifice. And I will be the first to sign up when the time comes. And last, And last but not least, I want to make sure that our returning veterans have the opportunity to return to our workforce as quickly as possible. To that end, I will soon be signing a resolution in support of the nationally recognized Helmets to Hard Hats program. Helmets to Hard Hats connects National Guard, Reserve, and transitioning active duty military members with career training and employment opportunities in the building and construction trades. The program matches an individual's military experience with specific building trades crafts and allows direct entry into the apprenticeship programs of the affiliated construction unions. It's a good program, and I'm confident it will assist our veterans as they make the often difficult transition from military service back into our everyday world. We also need to take time to acknowledge our state's police officers, our firefighters, and our emergency workers. These men and women have always played a vital role in our state's security and emergency responses, but during the past 4 years, they have been asked to do even more. With added homeland security pressures, they are doing more with less every single day. Unfortunately, they're also spending a large amount of time dealing with a new, senseless threat that has encompassed our state and others like the plague. It's methamphetamines. It is long past time for us to put an end to the creation and use of meth labs. Not only do these volatile and often crude labs create illegal and highly addictive drugs, they endanger our towns and put at risk the lives of all of our law enforcement personnel. They also are impacting the lives of our children with disastrous results. Therefore, I will propose legislation that will limit access to key ingredients used in the production of methamphetamines. Similar legislation in Oklahoma has already reduced the number of meth labs in that state by over 60%. For the sake of our families and our children, I am putting meth users on notice tonight that we are going to declare war on this drug and the dangerous makeshift meth labs that are too often leading to tragedy. Enough is enough. Throughout the last decade, West Virginia has seen its share of natural devastations as well. Flooding and other natural disasters have plagued the mountain state and have changed the lives of so many people. While each flooded home, business, school, or church is a significant burden upon the individuals and communities involved, West Virginians have been there to provide comfort and to help those affected. Volunteers have been the backbone of relief efforts, donating their time, their energy, and their money. Prior to my inauguration, as news of the devastation left in the wake of the Southeast Asian tsunami became apparent, I established the Disaster Recovery and Reconstruction Committee to address and expedite West Virginia's response to floods and other disasters. Currently, this committee is looking into establishing a nonprofit disaster response and recovery fund, so that when a disaster strikes, I as governor can immediately activate the account to receive contributions. We will work to ensure those who give that their money will go directly to assisting the victims of the disaster. Thank you. And Senator John Unger, who has been so vitally involved in that, I want to thank him personally. Thank you, John. If we do just a few things I've mentioned up to this point, we will have made progress in meeting the needs of West Virginians. But it is not nearly enough. If we are to build upon the monumental economic climate shift that was begun during the special session and create new jobs in this state, we must go much further. And for guidance, I am looking towards this beat-up old blue binder. For those who follow me on the campaign trail, you should be familiar with this binder because I took it with me everywhere. From Martinsburg to Matewan, from Clarksburg to Parkersburg. Where I went, it went. It is my job creation plan. And as many of you know, It's called West Virginia Open for Business. Almost every politician running for office comes out with a set of plans so that they can demonstrate how serious they are about fixing the state's problems. But once the election is over and the candidate takes his or her oath, you rarely hear a peep about those plans again. They end up on a shelf somewhere gathering dust. Let me tell you, not this plan. This and the ideas that we have in this plan that we put forth during the past year and a half played a major role in my being elected. And I owe it to the people who voted for me to honor them. That is why I am using this plan as a blueprint for our economic development and job creation efforts. I will do everything in my power during the next 4 years to live up to my open for business commitments of saving the good jobs with health care benefits that we already have and looking for ways to create many, many more. But first, we have to start with the basics and set some goals. Goal number 1, running state government like a business. I've already talked about the $75 million that we have cut from my proposed budget. And almost the entire state is aware by now of my request for state agencies to simply answer the phone in a business-like manner. Something I take very seriously, as numerous state employees have already discovered. And they're doing a great job. But these initiatives are just the tip of the iceberg. For example, one of the first key steps in running the state like a business is ensuring that our state tax department has the tools it needs to collect the taxes that are owed to us so that we have the money necessary to meet our obligations. In business, you must invest in equipment and people in order to make a profit. And so, as CEO of the state, I propose we make a one-time investment of $20 million in a new integrated tax collection system that is estimated to increase our collections of existing taxes by over $18 million each and every year going into the future. I don't know about you, but this just makes good common sense to me. In addition, we must address our pension systems. During this special session, a week and a half ago that we just had, together we took the steps to create a permanent fix to our pension challenges. But we must do more. I will submit a package of pension reform legislation that is fair to public employees, is fair to our teachers, it is fair to the troopers and judges, but it is also fair to the taxpayers of this state. We must give every West Virginian confidence that we will never again allow this state to make promises it can't keep. We need to look closely at our community corrections programs. We've all seen the statistics. West Virginia has one of the fastest growing rates of incarceration in the country. The negative impact on community after community throughout this state is overwhelming in both actual dollar cost and the much harder to measure human cost. That's where community corrections come in. Not only have these programs turned around the lives of certain nonviolent offenders, making them productive, contributing citizens, but they have saved taxpayers millions of dollars. That is why I am proposing that we place $800,000 in the budget for the Division of Criminal Justice Services to help develop community correction programs in other parts of the state. Goal number 2, developing a seamless education system. The state constitution requires that we offer a thorough and efficient system of education for students from elementary through high school. The Constitution also requires us to pay for it. However, the state constitution does not require us to offer or pay for a system of higher education for students to attend after high school. During our history, we have wisely chosen to create a system of higher education consisting of technical centers, community colleges, public colleges, and universities. And I believe these institutions are essential to our future. but because higher education is not a fundamental right under our state's constitution, colleges and universities must continually demonstrate that the taxpayer's investment in higher education is worth it. Tonight, I propose to remove the shackles from higher education and give them the flexibility to compete and succeed. We cannot stifle We cannot stifle productivity and efficiency and then expect our colleges and universities to meet the challenges of the 21st century. Working with the legislature, I want to give higher education the capacity to meet these challenges. Our two largest universities, Marshall and West Virginia University, are keys to this competitiveness. Alone, each can accomplish much. Together, they can accomplish much, much more. At my direction, West Virginia University and Marshall University will be working in a new spirit of collaboration to promote the state's economic interest. We want WVU and Marshall to be rivals on the basketball court, and yes, on the football field. But we also expect them to be partners in creating new jobs, conducting scientific research, and generating high-tech economic development. Let's help them and every other college and university in West Virginia by reducing overregulation and increasing flexibility in higher education. Goal number 3, providing quality, affordable health care to our citizens. Today, I officially appointed West Virginia's new pharmaceutical advocate, Scott Brown. Scott is with us today. Thank you, Scott. Scott will be charged with obtaining the lowest possible prescription drug prices for our state and its citizens. By combining for the first time ever the buying power of PEIA, Medicaid, CHIPS, and the Department of Corrections, we will save our state and its people tens of millions of dollars. We also need to begin the process of modernizing West Virginia's healthcare system and use the technology that already exists within our high-tech consortium and biometrics industry also, to put critical healthcare information in the hands of doctors and caregivers at the time they need it most, when care is delivered. Why is it so easy to access our bank accounts using ATMs worldwide, but we have trouble moving medical records from one healthcare provider to another? Last year, the federal government laid out a plan to ensure that most Americans will have personal electronic health records within 10 years. To help to do this, they appointed a national coordinator for health and information technology, Dr. David Brailer. We are honored to have Dr. Brailer and his mother Grace with us tonight. I believe that West Virginia can serve as a model for health records partnerships that will pave the way for other states. We will lead the nation in making healthcare information more readily available to consumers so that they can make not only informed choices about their doctors and also their treatment options, but also become more involved and responsible in their own care. Dr. Brailer, thank you for being here tonight. We look forward to working with you. By the way, did I mention that Dr. Brailer is a native West Virginian and a graduate of WVU, and his mom still lives in Kingwood, West Virginia? Would they please stand and be recognized? Speaking of which, I also want to take this opportunity to welcome another special guest, Joan O. Joan lives in West Virginia as commissioner, and she is commissioner of the Administration on Children, Youth, and Families for the United States Department of Health and Human Services. She's also a former secretary of the West Virginia Department of Health and Human Resources. Welcome back, Joan. Would you please stand and let us recognize you? Goal number 4, encouraging counties and regions to work together. With the approval of the legislature, we will devote $250,000 to provide assistance to the municipal and county consolidation efforts. championed by Senator Brooks McCabe, and the Commission on Governing in the 21st Century. Thank you, Brooks. Goal number 5, promoting our state's workforce development efforts. We will coordinate statewide activities related to the development of our workforce, assisting individuals seeking employment and providing a trained, skilled workforce to existing and anticipated businesses in our state. We will also create a business honor roll so that we take the time to recognize those West Virginia businesses, both small and large, that continually to train their own workers. They are good neighbors. They pay their bills, and they provide quality, good-paying jobs with health care to our citizens. Our goal number 6, preserving our state's small businesses. I want my legacy as governor to include making West Virginia the #1 state for small business growth. Therefore, I will require our new Secretary of Commerce to devise an action plan specifically for growing our small business community, complete with defined outcomes that can easily be measured and tracked to show how the state will use all of its resources to save our existing small businesses and promote the creation of new ones. Goal number 7, investing in our infrastructure and our environment. I am committed to developing a Brownsfield cleanup plan to ensure that we clean up and use previously developed land for new commercial development. In many parts of the state, we already have the infrastructure in place to bring in new jobs and businesses. Land that was once used for commercial or industrial purposes, that it now sits idle, is primary property for a company looking to relocate to expand in our state. West Virginia's Brownfields program is a powerful tool, and we have to create economic opportunity with it. Sustainable development and community-based partnerships. I am committed to maximizing our water potential. It is unconscionable to me that in the year 2005, approximately 25% of West Virginia homes still have no access to formal clean water systems. And 45% of our population is not connected to a centralized public wastewater treatment system. How can we expect to be taken seriously as a potential business location if we aren't even taking care of the basic needs of our current citizens? This must change, and it must change quickly as possible, starting tonight. In addition, West Virginia water resources are plentiful, and we need to continue to act now to keep it that way. Last year, you, the legislature, had the foresight to pass the Water Resources Protection Act, a measure that will help protect West Virginia's valuable water resources. As a result of that action, we will begin to know how much of our water is being used and for what it's being used for. I am also committed, as anyone who knows me will tell you, to making our state truly shine. West Virginians take enormous pride in our state, which is demonstrated by the number of volunteers who help with cleanup programs year-round. But I have discovered that these programs are scattered over different agencies, which just doesn't make sense to me. That is why I'm proposing that we house all cleanup and litter control initiatives under one comprehensive program. In honor of my late Uncle A. James Manchin, this program will be called REAP, the Next Generation, which stands for Rehabilitation Environmental Action Plan. Thank you. Thank you. You know, the Adopt a Dump program, Adopt a Highway program, Recycling Assistant Initiatives, the Make It Shine program, and the Youth Conservation Education program should fall under one umbrella in order to keep the state clean while maximizing our financial and human resources and eliminating all of the redundancy. As part of this new plan, Clean Streams West Virginia will be launched in the spring to encourage groups to clean up their local streams. Expect to hear a lot more about this new initiative. In the coming weeks and next days, we're going to do all that we can. This is an effort that would make Uncle Jimmy very, very proud. I also know that many of you right now can hear him sitting in that back seat. He'd be howling right now, wouldn't he, Mike? Thank you. Goal number 8, improving our overall business climate. First, let's talk about waiver provisions. As I've said many times, I'm a big believer that one size doesn't fit all, especially when it comes to meeting the needs of our individual communities. West Virginia is a unique state with distinct regional economics. Just look at the differences between Huntington and Harpers Ferry. That is why I'm proposing that we allow local governments throughout West Virginia a waiver program to explore new ways to govern at the municipal and county level, and to give the rest of the state the benefit of learning from their experiences prior to making any statewide reforms. The waiver program would include tools that would allow local government operations and education decisions to be made based upon fairness, equity, and competitiveness. Second, as part of our collective commitment to build a stable and attractive business climate, we also need to take reasonable steps to reform West Virginia's civil justice system. In doing so, we will stop frivolous lawsuits in the state of West Virginia once and for all. We must forge a middle course between the extremes on both sides of this debate and focus on the ultimate goal of our court system, the equitable and fair treatment of all parties. With that goal in mind, I will be proposing legislation that strikes a balance between protecting the right of an injured person to seek relief and the fundamental underpinning of American jurisprudence that a party should be treated justly and be required to pay only its fair share. As we make this commitment to improve our court system, it is right and our responsibility to ask insurance companies to make the commitment to ease the burden placed on hardworking West Virginians. Under the leadership of Governor Wise and this legislature, the state recently enacted significant reforms to address skyrocketing malpractice costs for our doctors. And these reforms have worked, cutting medical malpractice lawsuits significantly and reducing the total amount of paid verdicts and settlements by over 50%. The state of West Virginia has done her part, and now it is time to ask the insurance companies to do theirs. We must guard against unfair rate increases, cancellations, and non-renewals for the working people of our state. We must work to enhance programs and implement controls that prevent fraud and abuse. And we must make West Virginia more marketable so that West Virginians will benefit from competition within the insurance market. Again, our objective is quite simply fairness. Fairness for all. These 8 goals are a great beginning in meeting my open for business commitments. So let's get started. What we do here during these next 60 days is so vitally important because it will set the stage for what happens in this state, not only during the next year or 4 years, but if all goes well, the next 20 years and beyond. Mahatma Gandhi once said, We must become the change we want to see. Well, Mr. Speaker and Mr. President, we did just that during this special session. I've always said one person couldn't do it alone. And a week and a half ago, we gave West Virginians a glimpse of what is possible when we work together. We put our individual interests in party politics aside and did what was best for the future of our state, our children, and our grandchildren. We weren't Democrats or Republicans, conservative or liberals, business or labor. We were West Virginians. Thank you. And now we have another opportunity to join together and show this state and this nation that West Virginia is serious about getting its house in order and becoming an economic force to be reckoned with. It is truly a wonderful day to be a proud West Virginian. But I'm also putting everyone on notice that while I still plan to roam these great halls frequently during the next 60 days and play an active role in what occurs here, I'm also planning to take this show on the road. I said I wanted to be the state's chief salesperson, and I asked you to give me something to sell, and you did. Now it's my turn to follow through on my end of the deal. Wherever there is one job on the verge of being lost, I will fight to save it. Wherever there is one company looking to grow in West Virginia, I will fight to make that growth a reality. As many of you are aware, there are power companies looking to build clean coal technology plants somewhere in the eastern part of the United States. And I will fight to make that expansion happen in West Virginia. I can also assure you that as I stand here tonight, there are companies across this state reevaluating their commitment to West Virginia as a result of the unprecedented work done here during the special session. These may be companies that were laying off workers or on the verge of leaving our state completely just a short while ago. But now they're taking another hard look at us. They're looking at our economy and the role that they can play in it. And you know what? They may even be considering an expansion of their own. I will fight to help those companies any way possible. Wherever there is a company across the country or around the world that is looking to expand somewhere new, I will fight to convince them to invest right here in West Virginia and bring their good-paying jobs with health care benefits with them. There will be very few wasted motions. And while West Virginia may be small in size, our passion and determination to succeed will be larger than life. This is my pledge to you. As I've said before, I want us all to have bragging rights. If the truth be told, I'm waiting with anticipation to be able to come back next year, right here, so I can fully expect to be able to compete one more campaign goal. We have one more campaign goal that I've promised, and I want to fulfill it. And that is to proudly report that the signs have been erected as you enter our great state that say, "Welcome to wild, wonderful West Virginia. Open for business." Thank you. God bless you. God bless the state of West Virginia. Okay. Didn't study too much, huh? Okay?
They good. It's like a party. Look at people. Look at people.
Thank you so much.
Congratulations.
Thank you for coming.
Oh, I was glad.
Thanks, Scott. Hey, honey. Thank you. Hey, Mom.
Oh, you did great, honey. Oh,
Okay.
I'm so proud of you.
Here, give her a big hug. That's why I
Big family.
Great speech.
Come on. Thanks.
How we do, baby?
You did wonderful.
Is it okay?
Mm-hmm. You want me to walk out?
Come on.
Good speech, Governor. Good job. Great job. Great job. Great job.
Thanks. Thanks,
Great
buddy.
job, Governor. Great job.
You're going to take credit for part of that?
Good job,
Senator.
Great. Great speech.
We're going to do it, buddy. We're going to do it. Thank you, JoJo.
Beautiful job. Beautiful.
Good job.
Thank you.
Ready to work with
We're
you.
ready to go, aren't we?
Yes, we are.
Thank you,
Open
Frank.
for business.
We're open.
Hell of a speech.
Thank you, buddy. Good job. Thank you.
There you go.
Thank you. Thanks, buddy. Appreciate you. John, thank you. I'm coming.
Good job.
Wonderful.
Great
Thank
speech.
Thank you, baby. You okay? You come visit me.
Great speech.
Thank you all. Thanks, buddy.
Good job. Good speech, buddy.
Thank you, Senator. Thank you, baby.
Excellent speech.
Thank you. Thank you.
Outstanding.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you. Thanks, baby. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for the tax department upgrade. That's
Oh, we got to do it, huh?
so needed. Thank you.
Thanks, buddy. Thank you, Marguerite.
Just remember that little business stuff.
You got it, baby.
Those little guys, we've got to take care of them.
Very exciting.
Hey, God bless.
Hey, I do got to tell you, I saw Uncle Joe, Uncle Jimmy, and Papa John there.
Fantastic job. Appreciate it. Thanks,
Joe,
man.
great job.
Appreciate you.
Great job.
Appreciate you, Rick.
I don't know
Thanks,
what else
buddy.
we got left to do, but we're there.
We're going to do it. Thanks, Rick. See you all, buddy. Take care, okay?
Real.
We'll do it. Thank you all. Bye-bye. See you, babe.
Good
See you,
job,
babe.
baby. Good job.
We got through it.
Love it.
Thank you.
Great.
Great speech, Joe.
Thanks, buddy. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Best one in 12 years. You did us fantastic.
Thank you, brother. Thanks, brother. Appreciate you.
Hey, buddy.
Hey, buddy. We ready?
We got to, I guess.
See you.
Wonderful job.
Thank you.
Hang in there, man.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Hey, how you doing?
You want your mic off now, or you want to wait till you get the off?
I can take it off now.